Uh, my story starts in a significant way for me because I spent my first 17 years of life in institutional care. I was in a baby home until I was about 3. And then all of these are Catholic homes. And a home with nuns, about 60 children, until I was about 11. And then a home with about 200 children, till I was 17. So I had 2 sisters. So my love is not sort of bounded by it. And it's interesting because today, I was thinking about it in my meditation practice today. There seems to be no connection between that person and me now. Anyway, so I was very disturbed growing up. I was very badly behaved and in trouble all the time. I think I was the youngest of 3 girls, and I was very young when I left wherever we left from. And the second time we went from my baby home, I was still under 5. So we arrived in the evening, and I remember them taking me away from my sisters into a separate wing. And I think I had a breakdown at that point. Something in me snapped, and I screamed and I screamed. And I didn't stop screaming for a week. And after that, I was always the person who was bad and in trouble. Anyway, that's fine. And then had a reasonable education, I suppose. And when I left school, I went into nursing. And I suddenly found I've got a brain. And I went up the ladder, education-wise. And then later on in my 40s, took myself into therapy. Because I was really chaotic and disturbed. I had great therapy. And I got it set up into a stable, for the last 10 or 15 years, really, happy and content with life. And as regards being lesbian, I don't know whether I am. Although it feels though I am. I feel my temperament, I sort of would be a lesbian. But I think what my childhood left me with is a feeling of asexuality. Any sort of closeness is quite difficult. But I think if I trusted myself as a 20-year-old with a decent body and things and not so embarrassed about how I might look, although I didn't feel like that then, if I was starting again, I think I would be a lesbian. All the people I identify with and like, and I'm still married, I have children and a home, and I think partly there's a nice security in that for me. But I like mixing with the gay community. And I just like I think the ideas are much more thought through. I think if you have had actually to stand apart from normal society or be made to, I think it makes you less glib. So I like the conversations, but I haven't got the courage to go out and take a lesbian relationship. I can't imagine anyone liking me now. Which brings up probably unconfident and I still have a body uncomfortableness in terms of the guy I'm with. We've just got used to each other. But to trust myself intimately would be quite difficult. And I think I've only just started to be my daughter, because I'm getting older, and so my daughter's trying to help me declutter. And we're getting very close, and I'm realizing just how loving I am towards her, because I found it very difficult to be a mother, very difficult. So I think something's changing for me, because I haven't got so much responsibility. Being a mother, it's a lot easier. And what do I look at? Where am I going with this? I've completely lost where I'm going. And I feel gormless about it. And I feel embarrassed. I've got a crush. And yeah. I don't think I've ever really fallen in love with a man.